Repeat after me. If I like it, it's good.
If I like it, it's good.
If I like it, it's good.
If I like it, it's bad?
So why am I writing this video? Because this seemingly minor issue is as old as I can remember, and while I understand the utility of phrases like "so bad it's good" for communicating a particular type of appeal, I see few remaining mainstream figures moving the ball forward on this. Because as grandiose as it might be, I'd like to see the conversation surrounding shows like this change for the better, to something I'd personally consider more honest. Because I'm tired of people thinking that the only way to market a show like this is by first covering one's ass
I am confident that I have a finely shaped buttocks
and admitting that it's actually objectively bad, whatever the hell that means. I'll admit, I'm just a tad bit sick of hearing people parrot the safest versions of controversial opinions, calling something cringe when they know full well that the jokes are functioning strictly as intended and that they're actively laughing at them.
I'm gay.
Now that's not the case for something like Garzey's Wing. An obvious example of just such a show does exist.
What the heck is this now?
Why, it's Garzey's Wing!
The whole point of watching it is to witness a train wreck, to watch something that's made so unbelievably poorly that it becomes funny.
Oh, damn!
I see what you mean, Aishi.
Poorly written, poorly directed, badly voiced.
Use the power of the earth and water and power of Amida.
What the? Who are you? A damn ghost?
Making use of lazy corner-cutting animation techniques and not even doing that part competently. That too is worth laughing at. While I'd argue that it's also silly to call that objectively bad if you genuinely enjoy it.
You are so easygoing.
What are you saying?
That is absolutely not what the Eminence and Shadow is. Why am I writing this video? Because I'm sick of hearing phrases like "so bad it's good" and "guilty pleasures" applied to shows that are simply genuinely fun. Shows that are indulgent and unapologetically juvenile, and shows that use more generic tropes as springboards to tell perfectly enjoyable stories that showcase quirky ingenuity within their genre and broader context. It doesn't make sense to call something that you know you enjoy bad, to call something a guilty pleasure when you know that it's purely pleasant to watch. It doesn't make sense to say these things about something that you know you want to see more of from the anime industry, especially next to the dime a dozen boilerplate shows that get pumped out instead every season. It doesn't make sense to mince words and be so cowardly in how you state your opinions on standout shows within a medium of art and entertainment which is finally truly reaching into the mainstream, for both good and ill. Again, why am I writing this video? Because I'm sick of seeing shows like the Eminence and Shadow and Akiba Maid War apologized for when they should be celebrated wholeheartedly. Because I'm sick of the way we talk about shows which prove the very necessity for anime, the only medium where such peculiar shows can exist. Because I'm sick of shows capable of appealing to such particular niches, arguably the greatest strength of anime in particular, being compared to dime a dozen shows like Sword Art Online, which simply have identifiable and obvious reasons for being considered bad. You know, like maybe the fact that it doesn't even make good on its own basic premise. If you die in the game, you die in real life. No one who matters in SAO dies. Forgive me, Sachi. I'll always remember you. Even if you did exist as nothing more than a plot device inserted to trick us into believing that the show actually had the stones to do the one thing it set out to do, and then never done again. You were, after all, still a cute anime girl. This, among many other issues, is why a show like SAO fails to satisfy on its own baseline expectations, and fails to operate on a consistent, logical through line, whether it be external and relatable to real life, or wholly internal. This is not true of the Eminence and Shadow. It operates on its own internal logic. That logic just happens to be known as cringe. It operates primarily under the assumption that the next most cliche and or edgy thing that could happen is the coolest and or funniest thing that could happen. And it's right. The main character himself admits that he makes decisions based on what will make his alter ego seem the most like a boring background character, and he loves nothing more than when the world's plot is as cliche as possible. This is the Eminence and Shadow's internal logic, and it's perfectly functional for what the story is trying to accomplish. It's probably the best metric by which to make predictions. It makes for many great punchlines, and it makes it exceedingly fun when you do guess what will happen next. Try asking yourself occasionally, what would be the most cliche thing that could happen right now? What if the most important female in the story's father, the legendary knight, turned out to actually be the bad guy? Uh-oh. And after that, what if he killed her father right in front of her? Whoops. You can also have a little fun guessing what genre the next episode will be for the first 4 or so odd episodes. Yes, the perceived genre literally changes episode to episode sometimes. Anime. The Eminence in Shadow simply doesn't care what's considered conventionally good or bad, and it's better for it. Its complete commitment to this bit, and its masterful execution of this indulgent, unapologetically juvenile, edgy, and indeed cliché vibe is exactly what makes it ingenious. The cliché is the internal logic. You were just too busy apologizing for enjoying it to notice. Why am I writing this video? Because guilty pleasure is a stupid, cowardly phrase which should be retired from the English language forever. Because the word cringe used to actually mean something. The moment when a friend quote-unquote made it weird for everyone without realizing it.
You certainly got sexy, Miss Chelsea.
The moment when someone in a viral video did something unacceptably incorrectly with absolutely no self-awareness about said wrongdoing. Now we use it to describe anything we don't like or are too embarrassed to admit to liking. Now we use it to describe people who are busy accomplishing exactly what they set out to accomplish and are having a creative blast doing it. I'm sick of hearing people apologize for anime, manga, and light novels being exactly what they should be. Everything that more mainstream mediums can't be. If you like an anime, just say so. If you don't like an anime, stop apologizing for it. Stop damning with faint praise what should be celebrated in earnest. You're embarrassing us all. You're holding back potentially the most free-spirited of all mediums. And unlike the Eminence in Shadow, which never steeps to apologizing for what it is, you are indeed cringe AF.
Got him!
Some things people think are cringe are actually based, and you have to engage with the cringe in order to bring it to light that it is actually based.
You gotta just follow your North Star based, even if that means wading into the sea of cringe. If you just take everyone else's collective definition of based and cringe, you become cringe yourself because you have no identity.
Living in the boundless plains of Gabujuju!